U.S. President Donald Trump stirred public debate in Nigeria after making a statement expressing concern over the continued killing of Christians and other citizens by extremist groups. The U.S. president warned that such violence, if not stopped, could attract stronger international reactions. The Nigerian federal government, while addressing the allegations of religious persecution in the country, rejected the United States' designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Reacting to this latest development, Reverend John Joseph Hayab, chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the 19 northern states and the FCT, has urged Nigerians to embrace dialogue as the best way to resolve the country's challenges. The chairman, who was reacting to the response it generated from many segments of the community, both local and international, urges dialogue rather than anger to the comments made by foreign leaders. Joining us on the show to discuss the allegations of religious persecution in the country is Reverend Joseph Hayab, chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in the 19 northern states and the FCT. Good morning, Reverend Hayab, and you're most welcome to the morning show.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to all of you there and to all our viewers.
Excellent. Let's go straight in. We've been having this conversation now since that post by the U.S. president claiming that there is a Christian genocide happening, particularly in the northern part of the country. Now, you're the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the north, so I'm sure you'd have a better picture of what is happening. So my first question to you, which has been asked to a number of people with differing answers, is this: would you consider what is going on right now against Christians in the north as a genocide? And then going back to your take around conversation, dialogue as a response to the U.S. What does this mean? Can you break that?
Hello, my people, and welcome once again for this edition of Voices of Vigilance. The pushback for person who go control the narrative about Christian genocide for Nigeria between the government and the people. No, they ever want end today. Meanwhile, plenty active voices where we never hear before don't come out talk. One of them makes strong revelations, so tell them force him, make it delete the video for X. But make una no worry, we go give you that video here because we get him. First, my people, make we start with Arise TV as them talk waiting the current president of Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, talk. The man even talk who has say waiting they happen for Nigeria na pure Christian genocide. He even talk say that visit where Daniel Bwala, the special assistant to Oga Tinubu, and the picture where they take inside, all of them join, saying a photo ops. He even talks, say that picture where Daniel Bwala, the special assistant to Oga Tinubu, and the picture where they take join inside, all of them now photo ops, as in column. Make we listen.
U.S. President Donald Trump stirred public debate in Nigeria after making a statement expressing concern over the continued killing of Christians and other citizens by extremist groups. The U.S. president warned that such violence, if not stopped, could attract stronger international reactions. The Nigerian federal government, while addressing the allegations of religious persecution in the country, rejected the United States' designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Reacting to this latest development, Reverend John Joseph Hayab, chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the 19 northern states and the FCT, has urged Nigerians to embrace dialogue as the best way to resolve the country's challenges. The chairman, who was reacting to the response it generated from many segments of the community, both local and international, urges dialogue rather than anger to the comments made by foreign leaders. Joining us on the show to discuss the allegations of religious persecution in the country is Reverend Joseph Hayab, chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in the 19 northern states and the FCT. Good morning, Reverend Hayab, and you're most welcome to the morning show.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to all of you there and to all our viewers.
Excellent. Let's go straight in. We've been having this conversation now since that post by the U.S. president claiming that there is a Christian genocide happening, particularly in the northern part of the country. Now, you're the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the north, so I'm sure you'd have a better picture of what is happening. So my first question to you, which has been asked to a number of people with differing answers, is this: would you consider what is going on right now against Christians in the north as a genocide? And then going back to your take around conversation, dialogue as a response to the U.S. What does this mean? Can you break that down further for us? What does dialogue, or what would dialogue look like?
Let me go straight to your question. Can I consider what has been happening as genocide against Christians? And my straightforward answer is yes. Y-E-S, yes. Because these things have been there. But let me quickly put this picture. We have different groups and different people who view this differently. Number one, we have people who chose to deny that there is genocide. In their own thinking, there's no Christian persecution even in northern Nigeria. We have also those who deliberately chose to downplay this matter. In their own thinking, claims by Christians that they are being persecuted or they are being killed is just for them to get sympathy. We also have this group who deliberately also chose to misrepresent. Their own is to keep misrepresenting the entire conversation, framing it as it is just only farmers-herders conflict. Well, we know as victims that it is not. And then we have the last group, those who probably are sympathizers of the perpetrators or sympathizers of victims. So anytime you listen to this conversation, you have this thing going. But as I've said in many fora, that the truth about it is that anybody who comes out and say that there's no Christian genocide, there's no Christian persecution, is not fair. It's not fair to the Christians of northern Nigeria, neither is it fair to the victims and their families. Because some of us who are talking today, we've been around and we have buried many in numbers. We can give those numbers and those incidences with dates. Long even before Boko Haram came up. So the killings have always been there. To just fast-track it, you begin with issue of Sharia crisis in 2000. Over 2,000 people died, and we know what really happened. We buried them. In just 2 years after, the Miss World Beauty Pageant crisis came up, over 300 people were killed. We know what happened. We know the people we buried. I used to say this not for any reason, so that you don't think I'm telling you stories I read from books. I was part of the burial. I actually did the burial. So it's not a story. We knew what happened in 2006 about the Danish cartoon crisis. And then Boko Haram came up and further make it big. Kill our pastors, burnt our churches. The fact is that, like the Baptist church that I belong, many of our churches have to shut down completely in Maiduguri and in most of the part of the Northeast due to Boko Haram. Boko Haram were not just targeting people, they were targeting Christians. They publicly came, and thank God, ISWAP and other terrorist organizations have saying it publicly that, look, they will not stop tormenting or they will not stop persecuting Christians. But when you ask me as a Christian, is it just about killings? It goes beyond that. There are so many things we have faced. We face a situation where our children cannot be admitted in certain universities that are public universities, and their crime is not because they are not qualified, they are Christians. We face a situation that even if they go to that school, you have mosques and places of worship for other religions, but they don't have a place to worship. So every Sunday, they will be changing classroom for them. You're not going to worship here today. You're not going to worship here next week. So they don't have a permanent place to worship. And we ask ourselves, where? I, Reverend Hayab, have fought even in public media that there should be no federal institution in Nigeria where a citizen of Nigeria, a son of a Nigeria, will not be allowed to exercise his right. But our children suffer that. Look, I'll give you an example. There is a resource center by the Catholic in Kaduna, near the Lugat Hole roundabout. In 2000, there were many priests. I remember one of the priests I will always remember is Professor Peter Bona. He is a professor, a Reverend Father, a professor. They chased them out of that place, burnt all those centers. So Christians have suffered so many things that we don't just keep repeating it. And that's why we say, first, acknowledge that something went wrong. But let's look, how do we correct what went wrong? But when you say that there was nothing wrong, then we are not going to correct it. We'll keep pretending and keep lying to ourselves. If we want to correct it, first we acknowledge that something went wrong, Christians have been killed, and truly we've buried many.
Reverend, thank you so much for that insight. And, it's always very valuable to have somebody who has first-hand experience and a first-hand account of some of the things that transpired. What I found to be very profound in what you said is that you also documented what preceded Boko Haram. Now, we frame this conversation through the lens of terrorism, and we know Boko Haram to sort of be the launch pad of terrorist insurgency in this part of the world. I'd love for you to break down what you attribute the ideology or the group motivation to have been prior to Boko Haram, because that is a designated terrorist organization. So which group or which ideology was pushing this prior to the emergence of Boko Haram and other groups that have come up since then?
Well, if you quickly also I can take you back to late 1970s when the Matetsine happened. The only challenge is that at the time of Matetsine, there was no use of the term terrorism. But what Matetsine did was exactly terrorism. When Riyad Bonke came to Kano and to just launch his crusade, fundamentalists came out and killed people in hundreds. It was also terrorism. But probably because at that time, there was no term, the use of term terrorism. You will agree with me that terrorism became common after 9/11. So, but there has been killings. There has been a lot of evil going on in our soil in the name of religion. So Boko Haram seems to be the most official terrorist group that came out publicly to declare their stand against any other faith. They are stand against Christians. They kill pastors like Oji. They kill Sylvester Osanobo. They kill many. So,
Reverend, my question to you is,
what the ideology is that Islam or nobody.
Extremists?
The ideology simply is that anybody who do not believe in their brand of Islam is an infidel. Okay. And especially those who are not even associated with Islam are infidel. So that was the ideology. The ideology is Islam and Islam alone. And that's why they apply it to resources, they apply it to education, they apply it to development, they apply it to anything. Once you don't belong to, then you are an infidel.
And were there specific leaders? Were there specific leaders who used to drive this?
Yes, of course, there are specific leaders they know. As I'm speaking, Christians who have been all enough in northern Nigeria will know them. I remember in 1986, one particular leader came out publicly and said that, I quote, that according to Islamic teaching, a Christian cannot lead him. And again, he cannot also be led by women. And it became a heated issue in 1986. And I remember in 1987, there was a local government election. Then Kaduna local government was won, not busted or divided as it is today. And the Christians came out and said, okay, if that is the case, we are going to show that we are in this town. They went and searched for a pastor called John Aboki and voted for him to become the local government chairman of Kaduna local government then. Okay. And in the word of that particular leader who said that, they voted one Grace Chechet to become the councillor of his ward, just to correct that. But that kind of teaching have already entered some extremists, and they believe that a Christian cannot be. And that is not good for a country like Nigeria.
Reverend.
Yes, Hussein.
Please, I want clarity this morning. I'm happy that there's a shift in narrative, but this was not what you were saying when the fact-finding mission happened that involved Mike Arnold and the government person, Reno Mokri. That was represented. This was not what you were saying then. What you were saying was entirely different. So please, can you throw more lights on what transpired in that fact-finding mission? Also, this was not what you were saying when you had those meetings with Daniel Bwala. What changed? Have you seen the lights now, Reverend?
Okay. Thank you very much for putting up this question, because I give you an opportunity to clear a misconception. From the first word, I had just repeated what I said in that interview now, and I have the full video. Whoever did one small video to blackmail me then did not know that I had the full video. From the first word, I simply said, I am Reverend Joseph John Hayab, the chairman of CAN in the 19 Northern State and FCT. And anybody who said that there is no killing is a liar. I can share that video with you, Rufai, so that you will know that something went out behind the scene. But when I finished explaining that, I said the only thing that as Christians we will not support is for someone, because there was a comment around that time of a comedian that said the total number of killing was 100,000. And then another said, no, it's not 100,000, it's 500,000. And I clarified that there's no one that have killed 100,000 as at that time, or 500,000. And so I think either Mike Arnold or someone played a script and just went by the side. When you look at that video, you will see I was being picked by the side, and did not take me what I said from minute 1 to the second minute, and just take some seconds in between the third minute and now put it as if I said something. Fortunately for me, a young man was there standing, and he videoed everything I said from first word to the last word. So when you watch it, then you will know the drama surrounding Nigeria. So I don't think there's any problem.
Because
the visit of Boala to the National Khan,
yeah.
Thank God that the National Khan came out immediately and also refuted. You can see the misinformation, the twisting. I've talked about misrepresentation. The Boala team came to see our national leaders. Instead of discussing honestly, they just wanted to catch them on camera with group photographs, and they came out and said that our national president said the so-called genocide. And our national president never said so. Even the first report that came out to misrepresent Khan, one of our directors was quoted to have said that. And we sat him down. And he told our national leaders that he never said that. He was said out of context. I think one of the most dramatic aspects of this conversation is what we are seeing. Did you observe the video? The video is showing that I was in a meeting with Islamic leaders. Can someone tell me whether I've ever been in such a meeting? I have been part of some controversy sometimes
are you saying,
in the way people want to catch me, and they don't know that I...
No, Reverend, sir. Because, Reverend, you know why I was shocked when I saw you on that fact-finding mission? Because I know you since the days of El Rufai and how you came here and you stood tall and you spoke against El Rufai. So when I saw you in that fact-finding mission, I was surprised. So are you saying that those that organized the fact-finding mission came to manipulate the system? And why were you part of it in the first place? When they organized that manipulation, why did you even go across around people like that?
I don't want to conclude. If their intention was to manipulate, their intention was to get facts. And what was the fact? I gave them raw, and I have all that interview on tape. Not anything, on tape. The fact is that the day I had a conversation with Mike Arnold, first, he was using the first 1 minute manipulative video, but when I sent to him the full video, he now said, yes, I admit that you did say this, you did say this. I don't know what happened, because the video also shows me something. Now, when Mark Arnold was seated by my side and we started the interview, he then moved towards my left or right. What was he? Then probably either him or his colleague were the one. They asked me to even wait and have a meeting with the Muslim. I said, no, I'm not here to debate. I've put my facts across that Christians are being killed, and anybody who said that contrary is lying. The fact is that the last part of the video, which let's even repeated that the reason why we are where we are is because of denial. Admit it and let's get here.
Reverend, let's talk solution, but you have to send your original video to be able to clear yourself so that the people can see it.
Yeah, I will.
Let's talk solutions. Solutions to this matter.
As
we start to wrap up. Solutions to this matter, Reverend.
Yeah, the solution is simple. See, you can't tell someone who is a victim, who is in pains, that his cry about his pains is not true. Once we stop doing that, then we will find solution. Let's admit that, yes, people came and killed Christians, and they came in the name of religion. And which religion? They came as Islamic fundamentalists. No Christian is saying that Muslims had a meeting and asked some people to go and kill them. But Christians are saying that fundamentalists, terrorists, came in the name of Islam and killed Christians. When we acknowledge that fact, then we've started a journey of healing. Number two, as a nation, when we begin to talk honestly to one another and understand the feelings, the cry, the pains that people are going through, then people will trust any conversation we bring on the table. But when we see people in pains and we don't bother, like someone telling me that Trump is coming with an American agenda, first I ask you this question. If Trump had is having an agenda, what about your own agenda that have been killed and you didn't care? Before you tell me about Trump's agenda, have you shown concern when I was killed? Have you shown concern when I was burying people in large number? Did you show concern when I was grieving? You even mocked at us. You even laughed at us. So if you want to bring Trump's agenda, you've not started the conversation. Think of me as a Nigerian. Think of me as a fellow neighbor. Think of me as a citizen, and treat me with that respect. Give me the respect I deserve. I don't need to wait for Trump for that. But if you fail to do it and Trump say he's going to come, let him come. At least he will make you know that you are not the only one who is watching. And listening to what Trump says, Trump never said he was coming to fight Nigeria. I know there's a twisting of all these things. Trump simply said, go after these terrorists. If you don't go after them, we can come and go after them. So who is afraid of Trump coming to Nigeria? Probably he has an hidden agenda or something to do with terrorists. But the government can also come out and say, hey, we've had enough of this. We were taking position from now henceforth. Anybody who torments a fellow citizen, a Nigerian, because of his identity, whether tribal, whether religion, there will be a law, there's a law about it, and we will deal with him.
All right.
If those who are causing this problem know that government will come after them,
yes,
and there are structures, I even suggest to government, you can put up a task force in charge of religious freedom, who will monitor, investigate, advocate, and prosecute those who infringe on other people's rights. Then people will know the game is over.
All right, thank you. That was actually the question I was going to ask you. In one sentence, Reverend, do you think, so Trump coming in, fighting the terrorists and this task force, would that guarantee religious freedom in the North? One sentence.
In reality, we really don't need Trump to fight. We're supposed to, as a sovereign country, fight. But a situation where you are hungry and a visitor comes to give you food, the temptation is that you will eat the food because you will not allow yourself to die of hunger. If there is a failure in going after those who have been causing this problem in Nigeria, the temptation also is there that if someone comes and will offer a relief, you will go for it. So to me, it is a wake-up call. Government, instead of allowing all this unnecessary debate, hey, we have heard the cry. Yes, we have even realized the international community are interested in it. But we will show that we are a government. We will show that in this country there is a constitution, there is a law. From now henceforth, no Nigeria should be persecuted in Kano, should be persecuted in Sokoto, should be persecuted in Maiduguri, should be persecuted in Calabar, should be persecuted in Rivers, should be persecuted in Imo, should be persecuted in Enugu or in Lagos or in Ogun. Once the Nigerian government takes up that position, I tell you, terrorists will know their game is over. But once they strike, and then we allow this kind of debate and don't go after them, then they assume that they have a whole day or a field day. Let's stop them. Then religious leaders can come together and begin to talk honestly about dialogue, but dialogue from the point of respect.
Thank you so much, Reverend John Joseph Hayab. Indeed, no Nigeria in any corner of Nigeria should be persecuted.
Oh yes, so the man end them well. No Nigeria should be persecuted. Now, make we play that video where they don't delete. And even yourself go know why government say make they delete them. Make we watch.
As of 1992-93 in Kaduna, a riot broke out which they call the Zango Kataf riot. I was a young boy, very, very young then. And people were killed in scores. If you are not an Afsa person practicing Muslim in Islam, they were killed. Especially if you are from the southern part of Kaduna, the tribes from the southern part of Kaduna, they were massacred. It was called the Zango Kataf riot. And if the next thing they do is to burn churches, kill Christians, and then if they are done with that, then they focus on businesses that is for Igbo people, Igbo-owned businesses, and they destroyed it. I grew up knowing that Christians are an endangered species in Nigeria. In the year 2000, when the Sharia riots, how many of you have heard of the Sharia riot? Hundreds of thousands of people were killed in Kaduna. I can remember vividly that we had to defend our house from people. They brought some Fulani boys and they faced our house. They were shooting arrows. They were stoning our zinc. They spot our zinc shooting arrows. Even though I was a Muslim then. Even though my father was a Muslim then. But because majority of the people in our compound were Christians, so they were willing to destroy every one of us because we're living with Christians. I can remember a particular church in Mando, for those that know Mando, in Kaduna, called Chapel of Redemption. That church was destroyed. And so from that time, anytime there's a little hanky-panky in Nigeria, the first target is churches and Christians. And this has prevailed for a long time. That even if there's a problem with in another country, the Muslim and the Hausas in Nigeria will rise up and begin to kill Christians. How many of you remember the Miss World crisis in 2002, 2001, 2002? That somebody drew a picture of Muhammad or something in France, long away in France, and they began to fight in Nigeria. Are you following me? Christians are endangered species. Now let me give you, and that's how it has continued. Scores have been killed, and they focus on regions where there is a mixture of both Christianity and Islam. If you look at states like Kaduna, states like Plateau State, states like Nasarawa, states like Taraba, states like Benue, states like Bauchi, states like Gombe, States like Borno, these are places where they focus on because they intend to eliminate every living Christian in that place. Anybody that debunked it is a total lie, because I have grown and lived in the north. I've spent 80 to 80% of my life in the north, so I understand this thing. Several times, I cannot forget the Sharia riot. We were running for our lives, even though we were Muslims, but we're still running, because as far as you are not of the ethnic group practicing what they practice, you are a victim. You can be burnt alive. Many of us saw human beings that were burnt alive, like roasted like yam. And it has been going on for a long time. The genocide against the Christian faith. Are you with me? Many years ago, in Kano State, a man was beheaded. And anything they talk about, he said blasphemy. And guess who was the person that led it? The man called Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, was the one that led the mob. And they beheaded him. They killed the woman. They killed him and they put his head on a stake and they were using it to parade the city. You will understand of a woman also that is an evangelist. Evangelist Eunice that was preaching about 2016 or 18 in Abuja. And they killed her. We cannot talk about a young girl called Deborah Samuel that was killed. I schooled in Jos, and for years, the people of Plateau have been massacred. Riot breaking out every single time. The word that the moment anything happens, the next people that are victims are Christians. And it is unfortunate that all these years, the government have not been able to do anything about it. But the agenda is deep. Are you with me this morning? Why am I saying? Because I don't want us to be an ignorant people. If we're ignorant people, they'll control the narrative. And these days, let me tell you this truth. God will not come and fight for you. Remove that thing from your mind. If Christians don't rise up, pray from now till tomorrow. God is not coming to fight for you. Are you with me? Now, in the year 2009, Boko Haram started. Boko Haram started because of a section. It was a political movement. They created Boko Haram as a political talks to bring confusion into the government of Goodluck Jonathan. And to be able to, destroy any opposition, starting from Borno State, under the watch of a man called Kashim Shettima, which is now the vice president of Nigeria. Kashim Shettima and the other man, Ali Mohammed Sharif. These were the people that started the business of Boko Haram as a political talks to be able to oppose their opponents. But after a time, the ideology grew and they began to destroy. Now, it became a problem and they began to use it to destroy, bombing here and there. In 2009, 2010. As of 2010, a man led a meeting in Jos. Are you with me? He led a meeting that they were going to annihilate Christians within the localities of Plateau, Borno, Plateau, Bauchi, Kaduna, and Nasarawa. And he said they are going to perform jihad. They will bring jihad and they will go to kill them. If the Islamic leaders are not willing to lead them, he is ready to lead the movement. I have the minutes of that meeting in my phone presently. Guess who is that person? Isa Pantami, that was the former minister of communication under Buhari's regime. And several times, these are people that are terrorist sympathizers. And that is why the Nigerian army have not been able to win the war against the terrorism. Because the terrorists have infiltrated the Nigerian ranks, the army ranks, so they cannot win the war. That said, Osama bin Laden was a better Muslim than he is. He was sad when Osama bin Laden was killed. And he has said it several times that Boko Haram should not be killed. He said they are their Muslim brothers. How do you win a war against terrorism? Where there are people high in government that are sympathizers to terrorism. How do you win that war? Now, there are 4 categories of insecurity or people that are causing insecurity. Number 1, you have Boko Haram. Number 2, you have bandits. Number 3, you have Fulani herdsmen. Now I'm going to show you how they are connected. Many people don't know. The Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen have one mission. The mission is simple. Islamize Nigeria. Come to a territory that are Christian dominated, kill everybody there, occupy their land. Go to Benue, look for a community, kill them there, occupy their land. That's always me. Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen. Have you noticed? The Fulani herdsmen they don't kidnap, they kill. There's hardly a place you hear that Fulani herdsmen capture, that they say these are Fulani herdsmen. No, when they go, they kill. How do they kill? They kill with guns. You must now ask yourself, how does a Fulani man get AK-47? Do you know the cost of one AK-47? One AK-47 is over $1,000 something. Where will a Fulani man be able to obtain to be able to get one AK-47? Are you with me? And now, so you will know that there are people that are sponsoring this movement. Then the Boko Haram and the Fulani, they go about Christian-dominated areas. You will understand that when this terrorism started in Nigeria, that only people that were killed were Christian churches. You will not hear that they kill anyone. It is Christians and churches. I remember in Kaduna then that churches began to look for security men to guide their churches in every service day. Otherwise, you can be in church and the next is boom, everybody dies. And churches that don't have money to hire soldiers began to use some of their members. I was a member of the security team in my church in Deeper Life in Kaduna in 2010. Because we don't stay in the church. Once I come to the church in the morning, we stay outside, moving around patrolling, because anybody can come and drop anything. So when Boko Haram started, the majority of Muslims, the Hausa, Northern Muslims, the Hausa, they were happy. I know of people that were celebrating it. If you see them crying today, I'll tell you why. At the initial beginning of this thing, they were happy celebrating the killings of Christians. They said they are purging Nigeria of RNA. It was majorly on Christians and Christian-dominated areas. But when it comes to 2014, the man Buhari and APC that wanted to overthrow the government of Jonathan, by all means, decided to employ mercenaries from Niger, from Chad, from all those Fulani, from other African nations where they are Fulani, and they brought them into Nigeria. What was the goal? The goal was that if Jonathan does not concede defeat in the election, they were going to rain hell on Nigeria. So they brought in these mercenaries, and they equipped them with rifles, the El-Rufais, the Buharis. Are you with me? The El-Rufais, the Buharis. Every one of these people called APC, they brought in mercenaries and armed them in the bushes and told them to wait. The moment Jonathan did not concede defeat in the election, they were going to start. But unfortunately for them, Goodluck knew of the assignment. He got intel about it, and because the man said his ambition does not worth the blood of millions. So the man conceded defeat and left. And so they declared APC winner. Now, you have already brought people from different parts to come and fight. But what they wanted to come and fight for, they did not achieve anymore. So now they left those people in the bush. They left them with guns and ammunition in the bush. And when Buhari became the president, he abandoned them. Instead of them to settle them and let them go back, they abandoned them. And the people saw Nigeria as a place that is good. And the people decided to remain in Nigeria. Those are the people that started bandits. Before, we don't have anything like bandits. Banditry started under the watch of APC, under Buhari, because they were the ones that brought them in. Kidnapping, because they needed to survive. So they started by kidnapping. And they started by kidnapping. And they started by kidnapping. And they started by kidnapping. Over time, now, you understand that there are certain parts of this nation where there are mineral resources. Don't be an ignorant Christian. Follow me. Don't be an ignorant Christian. Don't be in a nation where you don't have understanding of what is happening. Now, there are some parts of Nigeria where there are good resources. And this is have been illegally mined by elites, the military generals, the oligarchs, the people that are the leadership of the North. They were mining these resources, and the money does not go into the federal government account. So what they do is that they employ the services of this banditry to create two things. Number one, to create diversion. So when you go to Zamfara, that's why you hear that they say that it's killing in Zamfara now. It's because of the Ilema gold mine. There is gold in Zamfara that they're mining. And so these bandits that are already in the bush, some people collaborate with them, partnered with them, and told them to keep creating confusion, create chaos. When you keep creating chaos, the Nigerian state and the people of Nigeria will not be able to focus on the illegal mining. They'll be concerned about the insecurity. So the insecurity is created as a means of diversion in the north. Are you following me? It is created as a means of diverting the attention of the military and the Nigerian populace from being able to focus on the illegal mining of resources. And any part of the north where there is resources, you find out that insecurity there. Recently, it has started in Kwara because there's a great amount of lithium in Kwara too that they have discovered and they're mining. So they partner with the Chinese because the people that do this illegal mining are the Chinese. They partner with the Chinese to be able to. So the bandits became the security men of the Chinese and all those people to protect them. So that while they are mining, they can begin to cause chaos. Because while the people are mining and they are causing chaos here, kidnapping here, nobody will be able to focus on what the Chinese are doing and those people illegal mining. Every single day to this moment, I'm telling you, they are mining in those places. And they will take it to an airfield in the bush and fly it out of Nigeria. They are making billions of dollars from it every day while people are being killed. That is why you now hear that Muslims are saying that they are killing Muslims too. What you have, it is what Buhari created. The APC Labour administration created. The banditry they created is what is affecting the North now. Because the people they brought to come and kill Nigeria in 2015 did not succeed because Goodluck relinquished power to them. And now the people have become thugs. They have become tools to be used in the hand of men that are using them to secure their illegal gold mines. And that's why you kill them. That's why you hear that they say they are killing Muslims. Now, the Christian persecution and genocide has been there. So you find out that the other part, the Muslim and the Fulani men keep going around killing in all those parts. And the Christians and the churches have been silent for too long. This evil has prevailed in Nigeria because the righteous men have been too quiet. If we're ever going to win against insecurity in Nigeria, Nigeria must put two things Nigeria must do. Number one, Sharia law must be completely abolished in Nigeria. Because Nigeria is not an Islamic state. Why will Nigeria, some part of Nigeria, be practicing Sharia? The law guiding them, constitutional law, that believe that if somebody deserves to die because he speaks against his God. Can a Hausa man insult Jesus and I kill him for insulting Jesus? But somebody believes when you speak against Muhammad, you deserve to die. How do you live in a country with somebody that have that kind of mentality? The military have become complicit. They are compromised. Nigerian military cannot win this war. 20 years from today, I'm telling you, 20 years from today, this thing of insecurity will not end because there are people that are enjoying it, benefiting from it, and reaping from it. If Nigeria want to win this war, partner with America. Let them come and militate. How many of you have seen that in Kano yesterday, some people were protesting that they don't want America to come? Because they believe what they have been told is that if America is coming to kill Muslims, and the man says he wants to come and kill terrorists, but they are protesting. Anybody that is negotiating, people like Ahmed Gumi, Sheikh Gumi should be locked away. A terrorist sympathizer is a terrorist. A man that believes that you are not supposed to kill a terrorist is himself a terrorist. A man that believes that we should go and negotiate. How do you go and negotiate with terrorists? Because you see, terrorists are not just criminals. They are working with a wrong ideology. A man that believes that killing he has nothing to lose. How do you negotiate with a man that believes that killing himself is to go and meet their God in heaven to collect 72 virgins? How do you negotiate with such a person? A man like Sheikh Gumi should be locked away. A man like Ali Mohammed Bushari should be arrested. You want to win against terrorism, you must go brutal. No nation win against terrorism by pampering them. The custom is taking rice, seizing rice from Nigeria and taking it to terrorists in the bush that they need to take care of them because they are human beings. No. The moment you become a terrorist, you see that taking the life of your fellow human being is nothing, is to please a God, then you don't deserve to live. Children of God, I'm not going to ask you to pray because this is not a period of prayer. This is a period of action. Reverend Dr. Ezekiel from Jos, the man that have been speaking, have created attention. Not for once have they invited the man for interview because they don't want to give the man any airtime. But you see, any little thing they will call Gumi and give him microphone. Gumi, they are inviting Gumi up and down. The media is complicit. The Nigerian military are complicit. You can't win war with this Nigerian army, not because they don't have the capacity, but because they are compromised. Buhari created banditry. The people like Gumi and the rest of them, they are the people that facilitated the idea of Boko Haram. And today, some of them are your leaders in government. Most of them are moving free. Not one have been arrested. Kabiru Sokoto that bombed Nyanyan in 2011. When they rearrested him, guess where they caught him? In the house of Shetima in Abuja. What is he doing in the house of Shetima if Shetima doesn't know him? But today, Shetima is your vice president. How do you win a war where terrorists are ruling you? Where terrorist sympathizers are moving around? This is not a period to say we are praying. No! This is a period of wisdom. This is a period of action. Churches in the south have no idea. They sit in their cozy churches with AC blowing them. They don't know what it means to be in the north. They don't know what it means to be running for your life. That every Sunday in the church there in Kaduna, when they say let us pray, everybody's praying with one eye open. Because you don't know, God might go up at any time in the church. The Nigerian church must rise up. There's an agenda. And if you read the minutes of that meeting in 2010 led by Isa Patami, you will not believe it. I have a recording of his messages. Where he said, why would they be killing their people? He said, why would they be killing his Muslim brothers, referring to Boko Haram as their Muslim brothers? How do you win with such a people in government? And that guy was a minister under Buhari for 8 years. Do you know what I'm telling you this morning? You are a Nigerian. If you are not aware of what is happening around you, in a short time, one day your calamity will just come. You will not know how. With me. The banditry that is destroying them in the north was created by the people Buhari brought for mercenaries to destroy Nigeria in 2015 in case he did not win. Unfortunately, he won, and those people were left without fight. And they began to use the weapons that have been provided for. These guys have sophisticated weapon. They move logistics, move money in dollars. Where do you think they're getting it from? You think it's from the sale of cow? No. The Bible says, watch and pray. We have been praying. This is the time to do what? To watch.